Hello, Austin, Texas, and welcome to the home team with Troy and Colton, where we bring real estate and finances together for your education and hopefully a little bit of entertainment. This segment is brought to you by Security National Mortgage, where we turn houses into homes by financing your American dream. If you want to reach out to us, it is loansfromtroy.com, or you can give me a call at 800-466-HOME. And today, we're very, very fortunate. We have one of the local area superstars, Jena Dubon with On Air Realty. Welcome, Jena.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, yes, we're so glad to have you back. You're kind of an OG of the show, so it definitely helps. It definitely helps as far as that, because we know that the information that you give is information that is very much needed in this industry right now. And what I have noticed is lately, is that VA loans are really starting to make a comeback. During the boom, as we call it, people wouldn't do VA loans because they felt the appraisals or this or that. And so VA had this kind of stigmatism against it. So it was harder for a veteran to purchase a home. Well, right now, it's a lot easier for a veteran to purchase a
It
home.
is. And it honestly is a lot about education too, because there's a lot of myths out there and misinformation where people do think like, I don't want to take a VA, contract because it might appraise for less or their conditions are way too difficult. They're really not. A lot of that is very false information, and VA is guaranteed financing. And then the conditions that sometimes come up, they're usually very minimal and we can try to like fix them in very easy ways. It just mainly comes down to if the seller wants to sell to you and if you want to buy the property and it's a good house, we can make it work.
Absolutely. The only real thing that comes up that's different for VA than any other loan is termites, right?
Conducive conditions.
Conducive conditions. And to be honest, when you do an inspection, if there's conducive conditions as a buyer, I would want that fixed anyways. Well,
And they're usually like, they're so minimal to the sense that like the fence is touching the house, the fence of your yard. So you have to go and cut the fence back. So you have a gap where that's not touching the house. That's a conducive condition. It's so minimal where people kind of overthink it and they're like, oh my gosh, there's so many bad problems. We can get those things fixed so easily.
yeah.
Trim the shrubs or foliage to
Trim the
where it's not.
shrubs.
And those are like the things that usually come up where people like think, oh, that sounds horrible. It's like, it's really not.
It's pretty minimal. And a lot of times you go out there, trim it, and get a picture that it's no longer touching and you're good.
Yeah.
It's easy,
Yeah.
easy peasy.
Yeah, I mean, since FHA changed their appraisal deal of what, 4 years ago, a VA appraisal and an FHA appraisal, other than the conducive conditions, are exactly the same.
That the timeline.
Yeah, one thing about a VA appraisal is that it takes 10 days. No matter what, it takes 10 days. And that is the VA stand or requirement is it can take no more than 10 days. So the appraisers just take 10 days. And so that's the only real thing. If you're trying to close something, 15 days or something like that.
Which Troy can do.
We can.
Especially now.
Get everything else cleared in the meantime and then just wait on that appraisal.
Yeah. And so that's one of the things that we're definitely doing now more so than ever, is that we are fully qualifying. If there's anything on there, we're sending it to the underwriter up front, because, speed to close has become a very important issue in this area. It's something that the buyer says, hey, I can close in 15 days, and where other people are 30, 45 days, all of a sudden your offer becomes a better offer, because you have to think most people now are on 6.5% to 7.5% interest. And so that extra 15 days may be $2,000 to the seller. So that's $2,000 less dollars they have to pay. So all of a sudden now your offer is within a couple grand. Now it's the same offer.
And what's really great is when you work with experts. So like I specialize with VA. Troy has done so many VA loans with me, and he's also a veteran, so it makes it even better. But what we're looking for when you're looking for a house is we're going to check the conditions ourselves, right? Of what we physically can see. Because some people get confused where they're like, well, my inspection is actually going to be the appraisal. And it's not. The appraiser's not going to come in and go into your attic and check things like an inspector actually would check. So they're very different from each other. But they're going to physically look with their eyes. And if they see that there's shingles missing or there's wood rot or whatever it may be, those are the things we're looking for to point out to you and also our lender. Because if we need to close quickly, and that could be the difference of getting a better deal or not, maybe it's a few $1,000s. A few $1,000s is a lot of money to most people,
Especially
in
now.
general. Yes.
Especially now.
So, knowing those things up front is really important. And then we can send it to the lender, see if it's going to be an issue. And that way you're not wasting money on your inspections, your option period. We want to try to make sure we're making smart moves.
Absolutely. In my opinion, for the borrower, the VA loan is the best loan out there. You can finance 100% of the purchase price. There's no mortgage insurance, so their monthly payment doesn't go up because it is a government guaranteed loan. You get a lower rate than conventional. So I mean, it is the best loan out there.
And the
So
qualifying, whenever it comes, if you have VA disability, you're able to gross that up as a lender. So if you're worried about qualifying, say you're 100% VA, disabled, you have no taxes. So that, I mean,
Did y'all
four or
know
five
that
hundred
that is
bucks.
specific to Texas?
other states do things, but Texas is one of the few that does 100%.
Which is a game changer. Like, if you are looking for a house or maybe you have 90% VA disability, you should really make sure that you have somebody advocating for you because it's such a
100%.
big thing to help you not only grow at your investment, but be able to get properties that you might not really be able to afford without that.
I mean, let's think about it. A $600,000 home, let's just say 3%, it's 2.6 to 3.2 is kind of the area. So let's just say 3% for ease of numbers. That's $18,000 a year in property taxes that you don't have to pay as a 100% disabled veteran. I mean, that's from being able to qualify from a $400,000 house. Now all of a sudden you qualify for a $600,000 house because there are no property taxes in your debt to income ratio.
And that
Yeah.
monthly payment looks a lot better without those
And
taxes.
that's a great point, right? But not everybody has that, right? Some people have 30% VA disability, and for them, that means no funding fee. So that's also a big savings when you're going in and you're trying to purchase a property.
Again, it's 2.3 to 3.15. So I mean, a $600,000 house, that's 18,000 less dollars you have to finance.
That's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's a caveat to that. It's one of the things, especially because we've been through this. If you are buying a home that is a veteran's 100% disabled, the property tax becomes kind of a quirk. And so because we now understand that, you should be very, very careful when buying a home because you need to fully understand how the taxes are going to work, how they're going to change. Because if it's done wrong, you're going to pay a lot of extra money for no reason. So we just recently did another one. So I'm just
Yeah, and to kind of further explain that, essentially what he's talking about is on your final closing disclosure, you get tax proration, so you get credited back the amount of money, the time frame that the current seller has lived there.
Yeah.
So if you have a veteran there and they're paying no taxes, you're not going to get that tax credit on your final closing disclosure. So you're responsible to cover that.
For sure.
And also you can make it the day that you purchase the home, but you have to do a lot of work once it's done. We know exactly what you need to do, so we'll give you all the information at the time. It's kind of deal, but trust me, it's worth the extra work to get a hold of it.
Yeah.
One of the things that makes it nice is the new law that you can homestead your home the day you buy it. That's relatively new. So that helps with the VA, purchasing a property that has zero taxes on it. So that helps a lot because that establishes the new tax date that day.
So how are y'all handling that when it comes to like reserves?
So it's basically, as far as for the buyer, purchasing one without which way?
Yes.
So
The buyer's purchasing one and it has 100% VA disability, and they're coming in and they don't have that same.
correct. So what we do is what we call it's blended. We have to kind of trick the computer a little bit. We'll put $1 in the January 1st to close date.
Yeah.
Taxes owed, we'll put $1 so that we know that taxes are due. But we won't actually collect anything because it is zero.
Yes.
There was no taxes on their property. But then we start with the full, let's say your taxes were $600 a month. We'll start with the full 3 months and we'll put the 3 months in reserve and $1 for the previous part. But you do have to immediately get your license changed, homestead it, and get all that done so that it does actually start on that day. The problem is that the county gets a little goofy.
Yeah.
Because they don't actually really start working on it until January 1st.
Yeah.
So they will say no taxes are due, and then on March they'll come back and say, oh wait, you owe us from closing day to.
So let's break this down to be a little more simpler, right? So when you go to close, they're going to collect from the seller what's due to them for taxes. And then Troy is going to start an account for you for your escrows, right? For your property taxes and insurance. And he's going to go off of whatever yours is potentially going to be. Now, our tax bill, at least for our area, doesn't come out until October. So we go off of I guess you could say an estimate, right? It's usually very, very close. Now, if the county has not updated that and it comes around December, January time period, you might get a check in the mail that's like, hey, you have an overage in your account. Here's this check. You want to put it back into your escrow account. Like, you need to make sure if put this in your head as an alert. If you get a check in the mail from your mortgage company, I need to call somebody and ask questions. I don't need to go cash it. It's not a Christmas present from your mortgage company. They don't do that. But in situations like that, when people don't know what's going on or don't know what to do, they really think like, well, I'm gonna go cash this. It's usually around Christmas time or right after. So people typically need that money and they put it in their account. And then come March, they get a horrible letter that's like, hey, you have a shortage and your payment's going up because you don't have enough money in your escrow account. So even though they shouldn't have given you that, there's certain laws in place to where they can't hold over a certain amount of money in your escrow account. And you as a consumer, you want to make sure you're protected. So ask questions. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, and that shortage letter is not near as cool as getting the check.
No.
It's just not.
Yeah, and again, we are talking about a very small percentage because not a lot of people are 100% disabled. So we are talking about a lot of small percentage, but we're also showing you that there are some serious things if you work with people that aren't experienced. So you definitely want to make sure that, who you're working with as far as a realtor and a lender fully understand what's going on so that it's handled right and you're given the correct information at closing.
No doubt.
VA is very nice in that aspect. We were talking about another one. If you move into a house that you're going to rent and you decide that, hey, I want to buy this house, and the owner of the home says, well, yeah, let's sell it. If you do an FHA loan, you have to live in that home for at least 6 months if you go under contract after you've moved in. Or you have to put 15% down. But where VA, you don't. You can move into that house, make that decision, and then go under contract and purchase.
Just like a regular VA loan.
Anytime that you're.
And these are small things that can cause serious problems because if you're doing a VA or an FHA transaction, and let's say you want to move in a week early, and this is something that develops in the middle of your transaction, and now the lender's notified about it, you have to wait 6 months to close. And that's going to cause big problems and big hiccups versus knowing this kind of information up front. So when you're going through a transaction, you want to make sure that you're not only asking your real estate agent, you're also asking your lender questions if things are about to change. And then it's structurally changing with a contract.
Absolutely. And it's very important once you get pre-qualified, before you do anything financially or with your assets, that you just discuss it with us, because we'll tell you what's important to do before you do it, because after you do it, sometimes it's too late and then we have to kind of work it around. Hey everyone, I hope you've enjoyed this segment. I hope you've learned a little bit. We do appreciate everything, and this segment was brought to you by Security National Mortgage, where we turn houses into homes by financing your American dream. You can also reach out to us on the QR code over here, or you can reach out to me at loansfromtroy.com. And in just a second, you're about to see some commercials. They are featured listings. If you do decide to purchase one of those featured listings and you go through this QR code here, you will get 1% off of your interest rate for the first year at no additional charge. And we'll see you in just a minute. Welcome back to the Home Team with Troy and Colton, and of course our special guest, Jena Dubon with On Air Realty. This segment is brought to you by Security National Mortgage, where we turn houses into homes by financing your American dream. You can reach out to me at loansfromtroy.com. You can reach out to me, of course, on the QR code on the wall. That's probably the easiest nowadays. Or you can give me a call at 866-440-HOME. And this segment is what we call the finance segment. This is my favorite segment. And the reason why I like it is because growing up, we didn't know anything about finances. Our parents didn't know, their parents didn't know. And so we've kind of grown up, and I don't remember the years, but it was somewhere in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s, the 401k came out, right? And before that, it was you worked for a company your entire life and then you got a pension, right? Well, now a pension I mean, that's rare. If somebody's paying a pension, it's either a government job or it's very few companies, right? So it's gone away. So the 401k puts all of the risk to you instead of the company, but it also puts all the reward to you as well if you manage that right. So understanding money is very important today. It's more important today than it's ever been, because we've been talking we're going to run out of Social Security since the 20s, right? So at some point it will become true.
Yeah.
But so doing this, and the thing that people that I had to understand is that the sooner is better.
And easier.
Yeah, and it's so much easier. So as a parent with a young child, you can throw $1,000 in an ETF type fund, just some sort of fund. The S&P is one I recommend. I highly think it's the greatest one because
529C.
yes, but that's college based and
Mhm.
things like that. So if the child doesn't go to college now with the laws they are today, the parent takes that. If they don't use that for college, the parent takes that money back and puts it into their own 401k or IRA, right? It doesn't really go for the child if they don't use it, right?
Yeah.
So that's so a 529 is nice for college, right? But it's not for the rest of life,
Mhm.
right? So having both of those, and at a young age, first year, $500,000, and then throw $10 a month,
Yeah.
and you've got $20, $30, $40,000 that they can use for anything,
Yep.
right?
Which is honestly very achievable because we have a generation which I'm technically part of the generation, but I do go home and cook. But a lot of our younger generation, they eat out a lot. They'll spend $20, $30 on a single meal, and if you were to just cut down a little bit on things like that and put away $10, $20 here and there, it really adds up quickly.
That
Yeah.
compound.
It's the compounding. The compounding is most effective the longer it is, right? My best analogy of compounding is just take a penny and double that number every day, right? By the end of the month, you've got hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? It started just by doubling a penny, right?
Yeah.
That's how compounding works, but it takes years, right? So you will be investing that $10 a month, and the account will go up $10 a month, right? No big
And when we
deal.
say investing, that does not mean putting it in a savings account. I just want to be clear about that.
Yep.
That is not,
Yeah.
you don't want to put your money away like that because as you see with inflation, if your money's sitting in an account somewhere in a savings account, it's not growing, right? Versus if you have an asset or you're putting it into investments like stocks, bonds, those are big differences.
Yeah, the savings account's kind of as like a security blanket type of thing. Like have that 3 to 6 months saved up that if you lost your job or something catastrophic happened,
You can touch
you
it.
have something to
Yeah.
touch and have access to that money.
Yep. I used to preach 6 months. What I've kind of developed to is more 3 months. And then that other 3 months is in some sort of high yield account of some sort, right? But the S&P is why I like that. It's you can go back and look at it. It has a 100-year history at a 9.8% return.
Amazing.
100 years.
Yep.
It's
So
insane.
now it's 100 years, it's gone like this, but it goes like this, right? So it's great one year and it's horrible the next year. But that's why you start early, because when it's down like this, your $10 is getting you more than when it's up like this. So you're buying less, right? So always invest in that. And it just, like I said,
Buy low, sell high.
yeah, if you have a young child, you put $500 in there and you throw $10 a month in there until they're 18, then you make it a custodial account.
And if it feels really complicated, there's actually there's tons of apps. You can reach out to me, Troy, any of us, and we can show you. I have more simplified stuff that I do through apps, through my bank. A lot of places offer things for you, but you don't have to overcomplicate it. And they'll even show you. A lot of these apps have these AI generations, right, where it shows you a scale of if I'm investing this, its potential over the next, let's say, 20 or 30 years will be X.
Yeah. And like I said, the younger, the better. And for a child, like I said, open up a custodial account. Please now reach out to me at the QR code. I will 100% walk you all the way through it. But open up a custodial account when they're, 1, 2, 3 years old, $500,000, and then put in $10 a month.
Have you seen that new thing that's come out?
Which one?
For kids if they're born, I think from 20.
Yes. Now there is a new deal that's come out. It's from the government. It's amazing if you ask me, right? It's a Roth type account, right? And so the government has, if you're born in the year 25, 26, 27, or 28, and you check yes on your tax returns, they will open an account for your child. They will put $1,000 in it.
Oh, so they're putting that money
The
in there.
government will put $1,000.
I thought you had to put the money
No,
in
the
there.
government will put $1,000 in
Wow.
that account.
Okay.
Right, and then that's it. They open the account and put $1,000. But right now, what's really cool is that there are companies like Micron, Apple, I think as well, are also donating to these accounts.
Oh, wow.
So these companies are going to put money in this account for you. Now they're talking like 250 million. How many children are born? So I mean, it's not much, but $100 from a company thrown into your account over 20 years, that's a lot of money, right? And it's like a Roth style, so that they can, once they reach a certain age, they can start pulling it out. They can use it for purchasing homes, going to college. They can keep it for retirement. It's an amazing account, and all you have to do is check yes. And then you will receive a link from them, and that link is how you put money in that account. And
It's extremely simple. It's almost like Venmo. Like you said, deposit here, you put a debit card in and you put it in there.
It is. There is a Venmo link style QR code that they send you.
Yeah.
And a regular link. I'm old, so I had to use a link, right?
Well, my kids are not, and that kids are too big for this. But this is really good information to know if I was, if I was still having kids,
If you have a child within the last year and a half, or you're having a child the next year and a half, you should definitely make sure you check yes, because it is free money. It goes into an S&P style fund.
Yeah.
And it is, there's it's the Roth style, so it grows tax-free, and everything else, the money is tax-free, so you don't have to pay on it or the earnings. And it is for the child. It is not for you, it's for the child. But just think about this, that you get $1,000 starter and you throw $10 a month in that, just $10. Right? And then when your child turns, 18, the account rolls over to them, and then they just keep throwing $10 a month in it. They can retire a millionaire, no matter where they started from in life.
Because the things that, I've only seen some things on social media about I thought you had to put 1,000 in. So now knowing you don't even have to put the 1,000 in, you're just checking a box. It was saying by the time they were 18, it's like $18,000.
Yeah, it's right around there. Just, on average returns. Yes, at 9.8%. We don't know what the next the next 18 years will be.
Yeah.
But we know that over time it's going to be 9.8%. You may get 5 or 6 years at 40% and 5 or 6 years at minus 20%.
You can essentially set your kid up with a down payment for a home.
Yeah.
You turn 18, get an asset underneath their belt,
Give them a key condo,
exactly.
Go to college, have the roommates leasing some things.
Set their retirement up. They could retire $10 a month. Your child could retire and live comfortably and never worry about whether Social Security runs out or not.
That is insane.
It's an amazing program. Again, reach out to me. It's the QR code. I'll kind of go over it, show you the boxes and everything. And even if you miss the first year, you can still go back. It's not like...
This is why I always say that Troy is the money man. He knows everything about money.
And again, the part that I like about it is that no matter where you are in life, right? Because
anybody qualifies.
You can, as a parent, wanting your children to be better than you and have a better life and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This is it. This is really it. And so, this will set this up. It will take a lot of worry away. So then your child can grow up and then work, right? And go and do things and have a life. And then also know that they've already got this amazing account set up, because the compounding is starting to affect. And at that point, hopefully your child understands and sees it. And let's just keep this and retire with this. My retirement's set at $10 a month. It is amazing. You start off, we've done the numbers. If you start off to 25, it takes $115. $115 to retire a millionaire. At 35, it takes $800. This is a month. At 45, it takes $3,000 a month.
Oh, wow.
So
it's a big difference.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
It's exponentially harder the older you get.
And what's cool is you're igniting something in your kid's mind, right? I know for my kids, they have a bank account set up, and so they keep track of their money. And they'll do something, and I'll put money in their account, or they get money for their birthdays or whatever, and they'll go put it in there, and it really excites them of oh, I have this much money saved. Or if they want to do something, I'm well, yeah, look at your money, right? Do you want to spend your money on that? And they have this new sense of appreciation when they want to go get boba. I'm
boba tea.
That's $6. Do you want to spend that? Do you want to spend your money? And they're always, of course, Mom, I think you could get this for me. But it helps them understand that it's expensive to go do things, and all these fun things, they add up. So let's make smarter choices.
For sure.
And there's even kids. Yes, as a parent, you get your kids a ton of stuff, but it makes them realize there is a cost associated with a good. Like that's a lot of kids don't have that full realization until they're much older, buying things for themselves.
Yeah. And then they have a job and they're like, well, I went and had boba tea and I had,
Yeah.
you know, Starbucks and Chick-fil-A and I don't have any
Mhm.
money in my account, Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, teaching your children about money is just as important as teaching them right from wrong, and just as important as teaching them morals, and just as important teaching them about how to hard work, and, you know, thinking responsibility and accountability is just as important. You know, it's just that most people never really understood it. And so learning it for yourself, just so you can teach your children, you have already left your family line in a better position because they grow up understanding money. And then if you grow up understanding money, you make less mistakes in that 18 to 30 range that you and I made, especially me. You know, they make less mistakes, so they're already financially better off.
Yes.
You know, and that's what I think is the most important part about this. So if you have any questions about that, please reach out to me. I'll love to go over it. Very simple, very simple. You don't need, this is not something you need to overthink. An index fund off the S&P has a 100-year history of 9.8%. I mean, that is the safest place to go. You know, like you said, putting money into a regular savings account that is yielding 2.5% right now is kind of that basic number. Maybe it's somewhere up to 3. Well, if inflation's at 3.5% and you're getting 2.5% of your money, your
losing
money is
money.
1% worth less at the end of the year than it was when you started the year. So that's why it's super important to, you know, to do this and to understand it and where it's at. Hey, you've been watching The Home Team with Troy and Colton, and of course our special guest, Jena Dubon with On Air Realty. Jena, how would they get a hold of you?
You give me a call at 512-310-8080.
All right. This segment was brought to you by Security National Mortgage, where we turn houses into homes by financing your American dream. If you want to reach out to us, of course, the QR code, old timers like me, is loansfromtroy.com. And hang on just a second, because you're about to see some featured listings, okay? And if you do purchase any of those featured listings with going through our QR code, then you will get 1% off of your interest rate for the first year of the loan at no charge to you. And we will see you next week.